Welcome to the Milkovich team's November Community Spotlight. I have the great honor and good fortune of sitting here in Wallingford with Suzanna Fisher, and she is the creator and the owner of Bellwether Tattoo. And we are sitting here in her shop, and we're just gonna kind of chat and ask her a couple questions and get to know a little bit about her background. So thank you, Susanna.
Yeah, thanks for doing a spotlight on me.
For having us in. So, I had the great honor of being introduced to you through my dear friend Jill Ware.
Who we love.
Shout out for Jill Ware. And interestingly enough, here we are these years later. She's actually part of the Milkovich team.
Yeah.
So I'm all covered up in my fall, winter rain gear. I should have been a little more exposed, but when we first met, I came into your shop and got my wonderful hosta leaf that I love so much on my arm. But tell us a little bit about just your background and how you got into this industry and a little bit about your tenure.
Yeah, I have loved tattoos since I was a little kid. I just thought they were super cool. Didn't know anybody that had any, but just was amazed every time I saw one. And I went to college and I didn't really find anything that was more appealing than this. You know, like if I was gonna go down an art path, it's like I could be a graphic designer, which didn't really do anything for me, or I could go into this, which was a lot more interesting. So I still finished college. Thanks, Dad.
Yes.
And and I just tried to figure out how to get into it, which means just talking to tattooers and getting tattooed and stuff like that. It's one of those things that I couldn't not do it. I'm just obsessed.
Yeah. You were drawn to it.
Yeah.
There's away you went.
Yeah.
It became kind of an obsession almost.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that. You're so lucky, any of us that get to go to work or own a business or be an entrepreneur and have that kind of passion. I feel
like I'm getting away with something every day. Like every day, I'm like, people are letting me do this, and
somebody's gonna
I'm getting paid, and I just get to like draw on people. It's just the coolest thing.
So, being that your shop is here in Wallingford, and for folks that are watching that maybe someday do go online and call you and come in here and see it themselves, it's a pretty intimate shop. And being that you have all this amazing artwork everywhere, what is the thing that you love most about this space, or the way you've created this space for you to be efficient and do your work?
I like this space because it makes it easy for me to make my client comfortable, which is obviously the tattooing itself is the most important thing, but I have gotten tattooed in shops that I was not comfortable in.
Okay. And
it's already like a painful thing, and if you're not super familiar, you might be nervous about being in that space. And I just like when people come in and they're like, I kind of feel like I'm hosting people to my home in this shop because it is a private studio.
Yeah.
So I can, previously, when pre-COVID, I had like a tea station and snacks and, so it's really
a little
like
more homey.
Yeah,
you could.
Yeah. So, I like that it's private and
good light. I guess that's
and great
pretty
light.
essential.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And how many years have you been here in Wallingford, Suzanna?
I've been in Wallingford, I think, about 6 years.
Okay, so in the industry about 13 and here for 6.
Yeah.
Cool. How did you know that you wanted to land in this community? Was it more just finding the right shop, as you just explained, or were you kind of purposefully looking to be in this community?
So I was living in Queen Anne at the time.
I remember that.
Yeah, so I lived on Queen Anne for about 5 years and was looking, for a space like this, it needs to be a very small retail space with a bathroom.
Yes.
And there aren't that many left in Seattle because they've been turned into very large condos with like 5,000 square foot retail at the bottom.
Sure.
So this space is kind of rare anymore. So you have to go to neighborhoods that have like little old buildings and small downtowns, old main streets.
Yes.
And Wallingford is
still has
like
some
this.
of
Still has a
that.
lot of like businesses that I've been coming to since I was a small child.
Sure.
Like I've been going to Musashi's
Love.
for 30 years. Yeah.
Love.
Yeah, like for like my whole
That's
life.
awesome.
So yeah, so finding a space like this, and then actually there's a lot of landlords that will not rent to tattoo shops.
Oh, wow.
Because there's a lot of stigma.
Okay.
So I literally had people say like, oh, we'd like a more traditional business.
Interesting.
So it was
Wow.
kind of like, okay, roughly where am I looking? And then also who's gonna let me have my business here? So,
Right.
and the guy that owns this shop actually lives next door. And he's the sweetest. He's also a local. We get along. He's a musician, you know, so
Nice.
it's like instead of like having a giant corporation that's like based in another state, I really appreciate that I can call up my landlord who owns the building and, you know, discuss
community.
things. Yeah,
It's
it really
really
is. It
community.
really is. Yeah.
There is such a romance about coming into a traditional storefront shop. You know, it does have just the sound, the door, and
Yeah.
it has that neighborhoody, almost European
Yeah.
feel. So I can see why you would have also been drawn to that.
Yeah,
it has a really
absolutely.
nice feeling. So, Suzanna, I'm just curious. Now, I know that you have a degree and you have a formal training in an art form as well, and you've ran with that in this industry. And I also know that you are award-winning, that you have done historically a lot of the competitions and the industry trade shows. I know that I see some awards on your wall. Can you tell us just a little bit about that world? And I'm just so intrigued how that works. I know that's a big question. Just
About
a
the
little,
competitions themselves?
yeah, like just, you know, is that just something that you've enjoyed over the years to kind of push your skill set? Is it
Yeah.
because you can kind of create like a sort of a brag book and share with people?
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you're
So
doing here?
so tattooers, you know, once someone leaves, the only thing I have is a photo.
Yeah.
So I need to take good pictures.
Yeah.
So that's huge. And then so we do have portfolios that you look through. But I do things like conventions, and conventions are where you do the competitions.
Okay.
And conventions are a great place to network. Local conventions are a lovely place to meet new clients.
Sure.
It's a great spot to see who else is out there, and then I use it as an excuse to travel.
There you go.
Like I find a convention in a place like South Africa
Yeah.
that I want to go to,
Love
and
it.
then it's like, yeah, I'm going for work. So
Yeah. There's
and then I get to
nothing
hang
better.
out, and then you automatically get like a group of people who you know even though you don't know.
Yeah.
So I have hung out in tattoo shops in Greece and Mexico.
Oh.
Just because I walked in and, you know,
Yeah.
these are my people. The shop looks the same. I can tell you where the thermofax is.
Yeah.
And, you know,
That's awesome.
it's the same everywhere. It's all over the world.
So cool. And what an inspiration to just get that vibe and that flavor from another country or another shop owner.
Yeah, it's great. It's
So
a
fun.
trip. I feel fortunate that I have a community everywhere.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about just being a female shop owner, an entrepreneur, a business owner. What has kind of kept you going for 13 years? What do you find is your biggest inspiration and maybe sometimes some of the, you know, the struggles that can come with that?
Yeah, totally. Seattle's actually a wonderful place to be a female tattooer and female tattoo shop owner. Vivian Lazonga has been in Seattle, I don't know, 50 years or
Okay.
something. She's one of the
And she's a premier.
tattoo ladies, you know,
Yeah.
a trailblazer. Absolutely. So she's been here owning a tattoo shop for decades.
Wow.
So there are a lot of female tattoo shop owners in Seattle. There's a lot of kind of femme shops, queer shops, spaces that are not just cis dudes, which is, there's a lot of that in tattooing. And so this has been a wonderful place to come up in tattooing as a woman. Whereas I've traveled to other places where it's not so friendly to women.
Sure.
So I'm just fortunate that I happen to be from here.
Well, I also would love to share with everybody, you do so many different platforms, and you're going to remind me, I'm sure I'm going to miss many of them, but by way of, you know, black and white tattoos, color. just so many different sort of, if the appropriate word is genre or taste or flavors. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about that? I just think when I look at your website, sometimes I just lose myself with like a beer looking at all your cool online features, because they are, they're all you, but they all have kind of a different vibe. So I don't know, I think that's so cool.
Thank you. I started at a walk-in shop on Capitol Hill in between a couple of bars. So whoever walks in the door, whatever they want, that's what you do. So I did that for a few years, and so it was just normal to me to be able to do whatever I needed to do for the client. And then I like mixing it up like that. There's people that like only do black and gray, only do portraits, stuff like that, but I enjoy, you know, photorealistic dog portrait one day and then a super hypercolor cartoony thing the next day. I just think it's interesting.
It keeps your career so multifaceted. I love that.
Thanks.
Well, we just really, really appreciate you, especially during these restricted times, allowing us to come in and sit with you in your shop and re-engage a little bit. We've been doing these monthly videos on an ongoing basis over at the Milkovich team. And again, the intention is to connect with our community. Great fortune to have been, have real estate transactions with Suzanna Fisher, come here to get a tattoo. My wife got me a gift certificate to get another one. And once things settle down a little bit, Suzanna and I are going to work on getting some consultations in for that. So we love Bellwether Tattoo. We respect and adore Suzanna. If you or anybody out there that catches this video online is intrigued, interested, all of Suzanna's information is online.
Yeah, totally. Instagram's probably the best way to, just because it's pictures, and that's what tattoos are. So.
And I think I just said earlier, I literally sometimes just find myself looking at her sites because it's just absolutely gorgeous what she creates. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
And we're gonna take a little tour of the shop and get some of this artwork we've been bragging about in some photos. And you guys have a great day. Thank you.